Welcome to the Breakthrough Emotional Eating podcast. My name is Kristen Jones, and thank you so much again for joining me this week. Super excited about the show for today. I feel like I say that every week, and I truly am really excited. I don't get on and do this unless I'm excited about the topic. So, you know, we could sit and talk about macaroni and cheese, and I'd be happy, and I'd be really excited about that topic, but that's not what we're here for. So, kind of ironic that I would choose that, but that's not what we're here for. So, today we have a double headliner here for the podcast. I'm going to be interviewing one of my clients, Gina Birch, and making a little, I wouldn't say, it's a little bit of an announcement about some things that are going to be happening in the group, and going to talk about that, as well as I am going to address an issue that I think is, I've been thinking about this, and I was listening to someone talk about this today, so I wanted to pass on the information that I learned. The idea of what happens when you think you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing. I could ask you, so what are you doing? Oh no, Kristen, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing. Really, I'm doing all the things, I'm doing everything, and the scale's not moving. It's stuck. It's stuck. I'm destined to be here. Yeah, you're not destined to be here. Okay, there's some things that we need to look at, and one of them is if you're eating to satisfied, that could still be too much food. I know, it's shocking, but it's true. It could still be too much food. You need to make sure we are going to talk about what that looks like and what you need to do to make that happen and make sure that things get bumped along. All right. So I'm coming live from the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community on Facebook. If you're listening on the podcast, welcome. Thanks for being here. But if you are listening on the podcast and you're not a member of the group, you need to get over and you need to join the group. Again, Breakthrough Emotional Eating on Facebook. Just type that in. I will pop up, and you want to go ahead and jump on in. Be a part of the most amazing community on Facebook. I'm a little biased, I know, but I'm going to say it anyway, that we're an amazing group here on Facebook. And so you definitely want to be a part of things. So www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough. And again, group of like-minded individuals all working and supporting each other in addressing issues with emotional eating as well as losing weight. We all know that diets don't work for anybody, but diets do not work if you're an emotional eater, period, end of story. So we don't even play around with that kind of stuff. We don't diet, we don't count carbs, we don't do any of that blah stuff, okay? We just eat what we like, but we get to listen to our bodies and we get to watch our minds and we pay attention to what we're thinking and all that good stuff. So that's what you want to do. You want to come and join us. All right. As I do every week, I want to give a shout out to my 3 new boot campers that have just started on Monday. I would say 15 minutes ago, got done with our first group coaching call. It was fabulous. They were amazing. So Debbie, Lori, and Trisha, welcome. Super happy that you're here. Super happy that you're investing in yourself and you're putting the time into really making a difference in your own life, learning how to eat and enjoy food, but do it in a way that's going to allow you to lose weight, as well as just feel in control of your life, feel in control of what's going on with you, and really just taking care of yourself. That's really what this is all about. Really what we focus on a lot in this group, and they're going to be focusing on a lot, is paying attention to the thoughts that we have, how we think, and how that translates to how we feel about ourselves. And we know our feelings always drive our actions, and that gets us the results that we either want or don't want. So if we aren't getting the results that we want, we need to go way back and look at the thoughts that we're having. So they are just starting on that journey, and I'm super happy that they're here. So again, Debbie, Lori, Trisha, super happy you're here. Thank you so much for just being a part of things and being so positive and so upbeat from the beginning. So glad to have all of you on the journey. All right, Miss Gina, so happy you are here. So y'all, this is my client, my friend, Gina Birch. Gina is from South Carolina. Not originally, though. She's from Jersey. She's a Jersey girl. And replanted herself down in South Carolina, and has been a client of mine. I think, Gina, we're almost going on a year that
Almost.
we've been working together. And so Gina is we're gonna have Gina tell a little bit about herself and tell a little bit about her journey, and then we'll talk about the real reason why I'm interviewing her, and why I want you all to get to know her, and then we'll kind of and ironically, we were laughing before we started recording, before we started going live, that the topic that I'm talking about is definitely something that Gina was like, oh, this is perfect. This is perfect that we're talking about this, because it applies to quite a few people in our group. So I think that it's a really relevant topic. So Miss Gina, let's kind of back the truck up here. If you wouldn't mind kind of introducing yourself and just telling people a little bit of background about you, and I'm going to throw a couple of questions out at you. So tell a little bit about yourself, what you do, how you found the group, and then how did we start working together?
Okay. Well, I'm Gina Birch. I live in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, and I am an accounting and finance person. I'm a CPA. I work for a bank, and I have a 18. I have an 18-year-old son. He just turned 18 last week, who's an athlete and applying to colleges now. So that's exciting for us.
Yeah.
And I found the group last year in March. Kristen was doing a 5-day challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, well, I could do this. I could do anything for 5 days. And it was really simple. Like the first day we drank half our body weight in ounces of water. I was like, okay, I could do this. And then it got a little more challenging. Like I had to eat without distractions, with
Mm-hmm.
no phone, no TV. And I just had these like awakenings, like, oh my gosh, I like to be entertained while I'm eating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm bored. How can I just sit here and eat without anything entertaining me?
Mm-hmm.
And then slowing down and putting my fork down, I was like, oh my goodness. So what I learned is, I am an emotional eater and a distracted eater. Now I've had food issues. I was anorexic in high school. I was bulimic in college. And I've had this awful relationship with food most of my life.
Mm-hmm.
So we did the challenge. And then I used my tax return refund last year to
That's
invest
right.
in myself and did one-on-one coaching with
Mm-hmm.
Kristen. And not only is she my coach, I consider her a friend. I mean, my son's been on Zoom. We got to know each other. I just love her. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a bit of time last year where I was MIA, and she just called to check on me.
Mm-hmm.
Just nice.
Yeah. So we started working together, and I think if I remember correctly, like in the challenge, you
Yeah,
lost like 5 pounds. Like when we started working together, you were like, "Oh, I'm already 5 pounds down." And I was like, "Great, that's awesome." Yeah. So you had already started to do it on your own, and then
yeah.
we started working together individually. What would you say has been the most significant thing that that you have learned? What's the most significant, the thing that really kind of sticks out in your mind as being the most significant thing?
That what we're doing here is not about the food, that
Mm-hmm.
it's about how I think about myself. Because even last year, um, Kristen would coach me and we would do Zoom meetings. And I had this block in my head that it was still about the food.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know she's talking about all this stuff, but I still need to eat diet food, or I still low carb, and
Mm-hmm.
she would ask me questions like, well, do you like what you're eating? I'm like, yeah, and yeah, it
I
was terrible.
couldn't imagine how she did, because
It
it
was
did not
awful.
sound good.
She's like, really? I'm like, sure, it's good, but I couldn't get through. And then there was a time when I wasn't eating enough calories.
Mm-hmm.
So she suggested that I up my calories, and my brain said, oh no. If y'all have been, in the group at all, my primal brain said, oh no. And I went a couple of weeks and I would not increase my calories, and I was holding on to weight.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, a friend of mine said to me, she's a coach, you're paying her, you might want to do that she suggests. And I did, and it worked. So there's that.
Yeah, that was a fun time. Yes, oh Joanne, love her. So, you um this time around, because we did take a little bit of a break, but this time
Yep.
around, for me, I have noticed that there's been some significant kind of discoveries or significant changes in how, like, well, one of the most significant, y'all have to be honest, one of the most significant differences is that Gina actually does her meal plans. And she posts in the group, because I don't
Yeah.
think you posted it. I don't think you posted it at all. I
Yeah.
don't think you sent anything to me, but it was Gina did things the way she wanted to do it the first time. I was
Right.
like, okay.
I wasn't willing. Well, in my mind said, oh, if I do that meal plan, that takes away my freedom, that I
Mm-hmm.
can't, decide what I'm going to eat. So I would write down my food at the end of the day after I ate it.
Right.
So what that created is I was thinking about food all day. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's one of the big differences is I do the meal plan. I don't have to think about food doing so it's like being disciplined in that area is giving me freedom in that
Right.
area,
Right.
and then doing those assessments at the end of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and just those, I mean, three things on my gratitude list and three things that I love about myself. And we've been doing this for how many weeks? So
Mm-hmm.
now my lists are like, this long of
Mm-hmm.
things I'm grateful for and things I love about myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really changed my thoughts. My thoughts have shifted.
Right. Right. And I've noticed that in the last, just in the last, I mean, well, since we've been doing it, but probably in the last like couple weeks, there's been some things that have gone not necessarily the way that you would want them to, and you were just like, nope, I'm good with this. Like I'm fine, and you weren't letting yourself get upset. You weren't letting anything kind of phase you, and I could just tell that there was something different about the way you were thinking too, and
Yeah.
that's always exciting for me. So you are very active in AA. You lead. How many meetings do you lead a week?
Well, I
Or
attend 3 meetings a week. Lately, it's been on Zoom.
mm-hmm,
Um, otherwise, it was in person.
mm-hmm,
I've been sober for 28 years. I got
mm-hmm.
sober in 1992, and I have a sponsor. I sponsor 5 girls, so I'm active. Yep.
5 girls, y'all. 5 people that she
You have to give
yes,
it away to keep it, and there's
yeah.
the bright spot in my day. A lot of times, I could get a little cranky or a little irritable, and I get a call or a text from a sponsor, and I'm like, oh, you know, brighten up.
So I'm gonna ask in the comments if and the reason I'm asking this is because one, I think that one of the things that Gina and I have I feel like we've always bonded over is her sobriety. And I actually just shared this with my group coaching call, and I don't talk about it that much, and I know a lot of you are new, but I lost my brother to alcoholism about 18 years ago, and my brother never had an opportunity to get sober. And so anytime I connect with somebody who is in recovery, like I just feel such a like it's just like it's almost like I don't want to say displaced love, but it's like I just feel this connection because I feel like they're doing they're doing what my brother didn't get to. And so it means so much to me to be able to connect with people who are in recovery, just because it was something that I didn't get to experience with him. So I would really, for anybody who's on the call right now, I would really, if you are a person who's in recovery, whether it's drugs or alcohol, and I also, Gina and I were talking about it. I also, if you're a former smoker, put that, write it, say me. I just want write down me. Type me in if you are recovering either alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, any of those things. I would love to have you put down, and you're going to understand the relevance when I talk to you in just a minute. But I'd really love to see who's in recovery right now, just because again, I feel very strongly and very connected to that community, to the purpose and what you're working towards, and so I really want to support that as well. So and that's what we are. Yay! Oh my gosh, look at the me's. Love you guys. Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Good, good, good. Okay, so why do I ask that? Why do I ask that question? Why is Gina being interviewed? So we're going to be having, and for those of you, last Thursday or Friday, I think it was Thursday. Yeah, it was no, no, it was Friday. Sorry, Friday. Last Friday, I sent an email out. Many of you might have received. Many of you should have received it if it bounced and went to your spam folder. Okay, that's okay. Went to your spam folder. But I sent out about 200 of these things got bounced. But I sent out an email to my email list, and if you're in my group, you are a part of my email list. And one of the things that the crux of the email was just to let you know, let those people who are receiving the email know that there were going to be some changes coming, and changes coming within this group. And I'm not going to announce what the changes are right now, but I just want you to know they are coming at the beginning of April. We're going to be having some changes, and it's really exciting. And one of the things that I want to be able to create is a way um, for myself and Gina as well, and to be able to help people in a way that is a little bit more impactful. And like I said, I'll be giving details about that as they come. But the reason why I wanted to have Gina on the podcast was because Gina is going to actually become a coach here on within the group, and so she will be, kind of what I ideally would like her to do is I'd like her to run a group for people in recovery who are having, because Gina, one of the things, and you and I have talked about this, and you had said that oftentimes an addiction is an addiction, and it doesn't matter, like they all kind of they all overlap. It's the same emotional thing that comes up, and so it doesn't matter if whatever it is, there people are going to have issues, whether it's with food, whether it's with alcohol, whether it's with drugs. So and can you share a little bit about a little bit more about what how your struggle that you had, and I don't know if I remember if it was before or after you got sober.
Yeah, with eating, I
Mm-hmm.
actually, when I was in college and I was bulimic, I got some therapy, and that helped with my eating disorder, but I was still drinking. So I still look at it as I just switched. I
Mm-hmm.
still had alcohol to
Mm-hmm.
I fill that void. Like I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I had this void inside, and I used exercise and food and men
Mm-hmm.
and alcohol to fill it. And then you take all that away, and that's when I went to AA and I got some help. But now, the only reason I'm working on my emotional eating now is because I'm sober. I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't be doing any of this.
Mm-hmm.
So it's sort of like I'm peeling the onion. I'm going a little bit deeper.
Right. Right. And it's really something for, for all of us to really think about, and what are, sometimes we deal with one thing and then something else becomes an issue, and then you deal with that thing and then something else becomes an issue. And so it's it's not the thing that we need to deal with, it's that underneath stuff. It's the stuff that lies underground. And y'all know we don't talk about we don't talk superficial here, except when I'm talking about Yellowstone. That's the only time. But we do not talk superficial here. We are very much about what is the root cause. We don't, and Gina's been on enough individual calls with me as well as group calls. Like, we just don't talk about food. I mean, I just don't. I don't have that much interest unless I'm talking about macaroni and cheese. I do not talk about food. I don't talk about carbs. I don't talk about calories. So it's not about that. This is about something much bigger than that and much deeper. And that's kind of the direction that kind of we're going to be going. But in order to do that, one of the things that I realized was that I'm only one person, and I can't be in 15 places at one time. So Gina is I'm thrilled that she is going to be active in the group and going to be, so she will be, you'll see her as an admin in the group as well. And so yeah, again, welcome her. If she comments on something, you know that she knows my program forwards and backwards, and all of the intricacies in it. So you definitely will get a lot of great information from her, and she definitely has a different skill set than I do, because of her work in recovery. I think that that's super important, because we all know that the food, alcohol, drugs, we all use, these are all things that are used to what we call buffer, which means to keep those emotions away. We don't want to deal with the emotions, so we keep them away. We keep them at a distance. And so yeah. So I think I'm really excited. So Gina, I'm super excited that you are joining the team. And so yeah. So you all will see her being active in the group. And for those people who are new, and if you answered that you wanted to kind of find out a little bit more about what it looks like to kind of work on these things. Gina will be she'll be the person who'll be reaching out to you, so you'll be hearing from her as well. And so yeah, we're super excited about just moving forward, and this all of this. Julie Britt Pope, Rip Yellowstone, you're killing me right now. All right, so thank you for the welcome, Gina. I love that. Yeah, please let's welcome Gina to the group.
Thank you.
Um, so I do want, like I said, we were talking about this before we came on. Um, One of the things that has become that I hear a lot of a lot of people say is they'll get to a point where it's like, okay, well, the weight loss has stopped. And so one of the things that I want to address is, for those people who are chronic snackers, if you're a snacker from way back, and you eat throughout the day, when you stop doing that, like, it reduces a significant amount of calories that you're eating. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to think about calories. You don't have to count calories. You just have removed a lot of calories from your life. And you can still pretty much eat anything that you want, and you can continue to do that. And that's what I want you to continue to do. But over time, if you start off at 200 pounds and you start, eliminate your snacking, and your body's like, hey, what's going on? Okay, it's going to drop weight pretty quickly in the beginning. And it's going to be just rainbows and unicorns. Everything's going to be fabulous. And then your body's going to start to get used to that. And it's going to say, you know what? You can keep eating what you want to eat, but you're going to have to eat a lot less of it in order for the scale to start moving, because your body's going to hold on and be like, we're not going anywhere. So when you start to notice that the scale, and this is one of the things I ask you all the time, you want to make sure that you weigh every day. That is done for data, scientific data. We need to know if your weight stays at the same place for like 5, 6, 7, 8, and you're still eating the same thing. Let me just reach through and just thump you on the head, okay? Because we got to stop doing that. You are frustrating yourself, because what's going to happen is you're going to go, this doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. This is all a crock. It doesn't work. Where's the cake? That's what's going to happen. Don't do that. Remember, we have to mix things up. Our bodies, like anything else, gets used to it. Our body's going to get used to that level of calories. So say you were at 200 pounds and you went for a month and you lost 10 pounds. Woohoo! You're at 190. You might stall out at 190. Your body's like, I'm happy at 190. We're eating food that's going to get us and keep us at 190, and that's awesome. And you're like, no, it's not awesome, because I want to go lower than 190. Okay, what do you have to do? You have to eat less food. Now, some of you may be thinking, but I'm eating to satisfied. I'm still eating to satisfied. I don't think I can eat any less food. And I'm going to tell you, oh, yes, you can. Okay, I do not want you to suddenly start eating salads. I don't want you to start changing and eating diet food. But I want you to really pay attention that if you are eating dissatisfied, you then need to ask yourself, okay, is this just because my eyes are telling me this is how much food I usually eat and this is going to make me happy and this is going to get me to that place that I want to be because I emotionally want to be there, not my weight. We have to remember that if we get set in our ways of like, okay, this is the amount of food that I eat, this is my satisfied, you're not allowing yourself to really figure out, is that really your satisfied or is it your satisfied up here? Because we need to listen to what goes on in our belly. How is your stomach feeling when it's satisfied? As opposed to, it's all in my head. We don't, we our minds, our brain, we have to make sure that we are actually listening to our bodies. So we have to kind of take and realize, okay, if I've been eating the same thing for 9 days and the scale's not moving, I need to eat less food. I don't need to change it. I need to eat less. And that is what really, and I need to be okay with that. That's probably the most important thing. You need to tell yourself, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to survive. Nothing bad's going to happen to me. And my body is going to get used to it like everything else. Because remember, we teach our bodies to expect a certain amount of food. If we've been eating more food than we probably needed, which is usually why we end up getting overweight, if we eat more food than we need, your body gets used to it. When you start removing food, your body's going to be like, oh, wait a minute, what's happening? I don't like that. Well, yeah, it doesn't like that, but you need to be in control and say, no, we're fine. We're fine. We're going to be just fine. No one's going to starve. Everyone's going to be just fine. So I really want you to assess if the scale is slowed down or it's not moving, really, I want you to start paying attention. How much food are you eating? And are you really giving your body an opportunity to tell you, this is enough. I don't need to eat this. I don't need to eat any more than this. This is what I need to eat. You'll be surprised as time goes on how little food you can get by and be totally happy. And that's why it's really important that you make sure that you're eating what you actually want. Because you may be able to eat, half to a quarter of the amount that you were eating before. But if you're eating what you love, who cares? That's okay. That's good. That's what we want. We want to eat what we love. So, and because we want to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves. So again, really tap in, really listen to how is, if it's gone along, you've gone along and you're not losing any weight, you really need to look at how much food am I eating? Not do I want to throw a salad in, not do I want to give up bread. Oh, I'm eating too many carbs. That must be what it is. No, that's not what it is. I'm just going to tell you, that's not what it is. You have to make sure that you're looking at your meal size, how much you're eating, and are you really listening to your body, or are you listening to what's on the plate and saying, oh, this looks like a good amount. No, you've got to listen to your body, let your body decide. Okay? All right, I'm going to climb off my soapbox now. And so that's what I want. That's what I really want everybody to really think about. If you've gotten to that place where you feel kind of stuck, that's what we need to reassess. Okay. For those people who are on the if you're on the podcast, thanks so much for coming. If you're in the group, please don't go anywhere, because I'm going to sign off on the podcast and then I want to talk to y'all. Okay. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast this week. Again, if you are listening on any of the platforms that I am on, please make sure that you come and join the group. We want you here. We would love to have you be a part of the community. You got to come and meet Gina for sure. I mean, now you've listened to this one. Yeah, you got to come and meet her. So come to the group, www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough, and let's make that happen. All right. And also, if you are so inclined and you want to give the podcast a review, whatever platform you are on, please jump on in, give a honest review. Love feedback. And again, love having you listen. So thank you so much for being a part of the podcast today. Have a great week, and we'll talk to y'all later. All right. Take care.